All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Happy to, if you want me to. Mrs. Dameron?
Here.
Mr. Spence?
Here.
Mr. DeStefano?
Here.
Administrator?
Present.
Mayor Petrella?
Present.
Solicitor Lynn?
Present.
Fiscal Officer Denise Jean Angels present. Dr. Scarpone?
Present.
Mr. Mattern?
Here.
And Mr. Merriman?
Here.
We'll stand for a moment of silence in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I need a motion to pass the minutes for the regular meeting on March 3rd, 2022.
Make a motion?
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
And Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
I need a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting on March 11th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting.
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Is there anybody that would like to come forth and speak in front of council? You want to come up, Mr. Longer? Go ahead, sir.
Hold on, please. Just came from the meeting.
You're fine, sir.
We have to deduct time because he was late.
Good evening, Council. Robert Lockridge, your representative to Steel Valley Regional Transit Authority. We just had a meeting today and two new members of the Board of Trustees were introduced. Both of them from one from Steubenville, both from Steubenville, I'm sorry, Jennifer Beal, and the other young lady was, her name was, I just met her today, I'm sorry, I apologize.
We can read the Herald Star and get it.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
A second here. I'll get to it later. With regard to the meeting, correspondence from the Weirton Transit Authority, they may have made a decision based upon their board meeting on March the 9th, and the operation manager for the transit system to cancel the memo of understanding between Steubenville Transit and Weirton. Therefore, there will be no service provided to Weirton residences by Steel Valley Transit based upon that. I also think there's going to be some issues brought to light with regard to the citizens once they hear a few more things. It's a detriment to them in that they don't have the benefit of getting and using our service to get to the malls down south, Robinson, and it's a shame that it happened, but he made that decision basically on his own. So it was brought up today, and I also brought it up at the BHJ meeting that this transpired, and it was brought to light again and verified for sure at the Steel Valley Transit meeting today. In fact, tonight, there was a representative of three different businesses regarding the development of a new website and apps for the Steel Valley Transit system. And they're in the process now of providing information regarding their potential service in this category, and that's pending for the future, maybe about a month or so, for them to develop these things that we need for the bus service. With regard to overall operations of the system is good. Unfortunately, Wintersville through February, end of February, for the first time ever, had a minus in overall transportation use by the citizens. By a small amount, but it still was a minus. But overall, from last year to this year, the transit system is doing well, and it's above beyond what we had in 2021. So it's doing well. Indicated there's a 17% increase overall in the bus service. Newab, have to apologize, just got that from the meeting. There was a meeting from the Pittsburgh Corporate Transportation Agency and the Freedom Transit System from Washington, Pennsylvania, that is interested in partaking in our overall service, so that the people from Washington, PA could come up to Robinson Township and then utilize all the services that our system affords, going down south, going out to the mall east of Wheeling. So the system is developing and expanding based upon overall acceptance, and I think the word is spreading, and it's doing well. There was an opportunity in early March that two of our representatives from three of them, went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, downtown to the transit system, and they had the opportunity to view a new electric bus. This thing was rather large and big and kind of overshadowing the capability of our use in this area, but these buses cost $1.4 million each, electric buses. They said, our representative said the bus ride was very good. It was quality. They went through, the people there went through and explained to our representatives how the services run, what it's like to run those services, the upkeep. The only thing is now, we, at the board meeting tonight, have thought the possibility if we could get one of those buses down to our area, shorter in size, and utilize it in our area. Because we don't have nothing set up right now that handle these buses with regard to charging them properly. There is a potential for the future across the street from the downtown complex, some empty lots. We have three of them, two of which are, we own them all, the bus transit system, but there are some environmental impact problems. They're doing core sampling now on one of them, and it's going through a grant program. Once they get the core sampling done and the grants are being generated further, the aim is to utilize and explain in the grants that possibility of using these properties for our charging and bus service, storage and charging of the new electric buses. So it seems like there will be a benefit to Steel Valley Transit to get this thing off the operation, the area where it is right now, in the future to be ready to get this thing done. I think it'll be something in the future. You'll see it for sure. But the buses cost quite a bit of money. So at least it's pending. We're looking at it right now. The general, I think I mentioned last time, the transit manager said he signed a new contract for a couple of years, so we have the benefit of his expertise for the next 2 years. Overall, and I gave this stuff, I believe, to Wall, I'm not sure offhand, but this here is a list of all of the stops in Wintersville. And Mr. Spence asked me to see if we could get something like this. I've got it, and this is going to be modified as the service is developed and utilized to see if there's any changes or it can be improvised to benefit the citizens. Also, in this area, there'll be building of shelters based upon the development of the number of people at a certain site. That would be the area where you could put in a shelter, because they're rather expensive to put in. But we do have this here, and the new app, once developed, will have the capability of people utilizing the app to determine where a bus is, where the routing is going. So once that system is developed and implemented, it'll be a situation where I suggested we have like a public meeting or something on the website or in the apps to explain how to utilize the app system to your benefit. So it's coming down the road, it's developing well, and the system is doing well. I did attend the BHJ meeting Wednesday. And basically that meeting, you bear with me a second, I had so much stuff here tonight. But in that meeting, there were several discussions with regard to certain revisions. The number one revision, benefit to Steel Valley, was about 8 different categories, whereby planning, funding, maintenance, monies or systems are to be implemented, and the resolution did pass by the commission. So Steel Valley down the road again is looking good with regard to federal assistance and state assistance to develop the system, potentially get new buses and maintain the system. Other than that, they had revisions regarding air quality, state of Ohio. They had several other discussions that I'm not going to get into. They give you a whole list of items, and I don't want to bother bring that to that. It takes too long to discuss all that stuff. They had a rather thick book on the tracking of motor vehicles throughout the system. They have a rather elaborate quality system. They incorporate on the roads, you see these little boxes and wires going across the road. That's to monitor traffic. We're fortunate in Steubenville, but about 7 or 8 years ago, we were fortunate enough to get a grant to have that system which monitors traffic control and monitors traffic flow, accident potentials through Wintersville. If you ever go down, take a look above, you'll see little cameras and the wiring. That's what that is. And that was the first thing that Wintersville ever got from BHJ during the years that I've been there. And fortunately, came up and we jumped on, we were able to get hold of Walt, jumped on it. It was installed by the state, and the funding was taken care of by the state. So it really benefited our community. They can take that information and determine any needs potentially for improvement of the roadways, traffic congestion, accident situations to develop. So it's a benefit to our village and a benefit to BHA to maintain this program and use it for the future with regard to upgrading the roads and getting more funding for the area. That's about, there was a seven range fire district meeting, but maybe Jason, Council Mattern, could elaborate. It was general information. Rob Harrington presented information with regard to some of the problems with vehicles and the batteries of these electric vehicles. What what potential problems can develop when you're trying to put out a fire of one of these vehicles, and the toxic emissions. So, he went into that great length, and
Yeah, to expand upon that,
Councilman
during,
Madden, go
to
ahead.
expand upon that, in that meeting, during the 7 ranges, it was discussed between all of the attendees there who've had experience with this kind of thing. The current tactics they have to put out a car fire is for regular cars. And now they have to have different techniques and tactics for these electric cars because of the battery in there. You have to be careful where you put your tools because if it hits the battery, it could cause things even to erupt even further. Some of them batteries get up to 1,800 degrees heat, and the charging part. So it was very, they don't have tactics or techniques developed yet to properly address some of these electrical fires on these cars. It was also discussed about those little scooters, okay? You have the little scooters that run around with battery. Well, this kid took it up to his house and was charging it, and the charger and the battery caught on fire and burned an apartment down. And so now there's a rush to regulations on those. It was an interesting discussion of something I never even thought of. I'm not in the first responder seat, but when you have an electrical fire with an electrical car on that battery, they are still developing techniques and tactics to properly address that to keep the community safe.
Yeah.
And that was part of that. The other thing that came up in the fire district meeting, and I wanted to bring it up in the finance committee, is without a doubt, they want to have that 300-foot line and the fire hydrant put on in. So if there are revenues coming on in from either whatever governmental grant we got, they absolutely, I'm putting in a formal request to make sure that's under consideration for any monies that come on in. That money to build that line to that fire hydrant is going to be very instrumental in developing that training school that they got over there for fires. That training school, the more you talk about it, the more you get things going, it's going to be a great asset to this village. They're training our first responders to adequately address fires and the silo emergencies. And these techniques and tactics that they're learning help the firefighters themselves, the first responders themselves, our community, and it's an investment for the future. They've talked about classes that are ongoing now and how they're going to expand with the classes as they continue. It sure would be nice to get Rob Harrington up here to discuss that in front of us for 10, 15 minutes. He could go on for hours. But giving that Wintersville Fire Department the support that we can will really enhance this village safety, and that's something that we need around here. Thanks, Bob.
We're fortunate to have Harrington there. He's a very knowledgeable guy, both in developing and pushing for that training center, but also in obtaining, with the use of grant money and the tax levy that we have here in the village. He utilizes it well to keep his equipment updated and modern. We've got by far one of the best fire departments in the area. So, other than that, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Is there anyone else that would like to address council? All right, we will be going on to the reading of the ordinances. I'll pass it over to Mr. Jake Lynn.
First ordinance is ordinance number 2022-01, an ordinance to approve permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2022.
Motion to approve ordinance 2022-01.
Second.
Do we need to suspend the rules for that?
Yes, I was just gonna say that, yeah. We're gonna have these in by the end of April 1st. Yep.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
We'll normally have the first read and then we suspend the rules on that. So we go through the first read, yay, 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 motion to suspend the rules and have the second and third reading by title only or something. And then we have that second and third rule. That's what we used to do. I don't know what we're gonna
That's
do
the
now.
proper way, so.
Is it?
Did you make a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion, Bob made a
Bob
second,
second,
so we're ready
okay.
to go with the first read.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
we
no,
did the first.
first read.
Didn't you just?
Oh, we didn't go
Yeah.
through.
Roll call. Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Marion?
Yeah.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
This next one.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know what, we need to have a second and third read on this one. 'Cause we're gonna
Do
do
this
it.
time, next time.
Yeah, you want me to go ahead and
Yeah,
do that?
you go ahead and do it.
Okay, so we're going to have, a motion to suspend the rules to do an emergency read of ordinance 2022-01. And Randy, I think you made that motion to
Yes.
suspend the
Yep,
rules?
I seconded it.
Jason's,
Okay. Roll call vote. Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have the second and third reading of ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance to approve the permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2022. I need a motion to approve the second and third read.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2022-01.
Second.
Okay, Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all yours.
You go ahead and take it. I'll do it.
You
I'll
want me
do it
to
next
do it?
meeting.
Okay,
Yep.
that's fine. Okay. This is a reading of ordinance 2022-02, amending ordinance 2021-28 to change the hourly rate of an employee that was erroneously increased to too great of an amount to the amount agreed by the Finance Committee, effective on the next full pay period of 2022, declaring it an emergency. So I need a motion.
so moved.
Second.
Bob?
No, I'm not second. I get questions.
Oh, okay.
Why are we picking on an individual where we have other individuals that got more than $1.50 an hour raise? That's my question. And why did we have a special meeting last Friday when we didn't have to have a special meeting last Friday?
We had a special meeting because it just came to everyone's attention that he got a large increase.
December is when everybody had the papers. Was that correct? The paper that you got was handed out in December?
I told you I didn't have dates on it, but I know it was from one of those
Somewhere-
meetings,
somewhere-
yeah.
somewhere
But there was a
December.
change from one amount to another amount, and we had not consciously approved that large of an increase.
So do we need to go back and other people got 327? Okay, I'm gonna have a special meeting. Let's take the 327 off her and give her the buck and a $1.55. Or whomever it is. I mean, are we gonna sit here and do this every time something happens?
Well, I think we need to correct the
This guy's-
mistake that was
This guy's running
made.
our village.
He's not running the village.
If we take him away, I think we're gonna be hurting very bad.
I have a question. Do we have ordinance 2021-28 here to review at all?
Yes,
And that was the ordinance that was approved by all of us, right? This is the final version that was approved. Is that in the packet?
the
2020
actual wage summary was not included when we got the ordinance in our packet. At least I didn't have it in my packet for it. Hang on one second.
So we're
I
trying to
just had
say,
it.
since the snow's over, we don't need him now?
I'm not saying that at all.
No,
I
just think
throwing it out there to everybody.
$5.31 is a large
Well, we gave-
increase for somebody that technically didn't take over the position because the other
you
gentleman
referring
is
to
still
this,
getting
Jason?
paid. It's still in that position.
is this what
We're
you
paying
want?
somebody else 3-something an hour more.
That's a police officer.
That's still an employee of the village. Correct.
I understand that.
So should we have a meeting and try to redo all these raises again then?
I mean, I think you guys are fighting over one specific person. I think there's personal feelings towards that one person, but that's just my opinion.
The guy.
Here's what I'll say. I don't have that ordinance in front of me, that 2021-28, the entire thing. somewhere we should have the raises that were approved in this ordinance. I mean, this ordinance, is it going to say everybody in there?
That's what we approved right there.
Okay, effective, okay, as listed in Exhibit A. Does anybody have Exhibit A?
Go ahead, Gene.
If I'm at the floor.
Yes, please.
I have reviewed the original ordinance, and my opinion that was read at the special meeting last week is that it was passed validly because all the raises were passed validly. They were included as Exhibit A. The amount for him was $28 an hour. So that was passed validly. And the other side of my opinion was, if you would like to change it, you have to amend that ordinance, and that is why this is in front of you tonight. So it was passed, and it was a valid raise. And if they want, and the vote tonight is whether or not you want to revert it to a lower number. This number specifically that is in Section 1 there.
So, listen, I don't want to take up much time, but in 2021-28, the ordinance, you're saying it did reflect a $28 raise, or $28 up to $28, a raise.
Yes,
up to
I'm not sure
$28.
what the exact number from A to B was, but it did reflect that $28 an hour raise, yes.
So that was approved by
Yes.
council. So it was erroneously increased, could be a little off in the wording on this, because we approved it. So there's no erroneously if we approved it here on council. I guess I just don't like the wording of it, and I think this should be further developed. This is the first time I've seen this, okay? The other thing I have here is in Section 2 of this 2022-02, it says the reason of immediate necessity to change this hourly rate is to correspond to the intent of the village, but I'm assuming now the intent of the village is Ordinance 2021-28, okay? Because we all approved that. So that was the intent of the village, and that this measure is declared an emergency ordinance because of public peace, health, safety, and welfare. If I take money away from any employee, how does that affect public peace, health, and safety on this one?
So that language is necessary whenever we want to pass an ordinance by emergency. And in this case, my legal position would be that it's under the welfare clause. Now, in order for that to pass as an emergency, 2/3 of council would have to approve it. So it needs to pass by 2/3 for it to pass as an emergency. The majority, if it only passes by a majority, it will not take effect as an emergency and will have to go through the normal readings.
So
And it won't take effect for 30 days.
I'm not a lawyer, so I'm deferring to you. You're saying that statement, that the reason of an immediate necessity of change of this hourly rate corresponds to the original intent, which I still think is an attachment we don't have, attachment A.
I have copies of it all, Jason.
Do, and then the preservation of public peace, health, safety, and welfare is a mandatory statement for the legality.
For emergency legislation, anything after that comma, after intent of village council as soon as possible, comma, that language is included on all emergency ordinances.
I guess ultimately I don't have an issue backing this back a little bit, okay? But I have serious issues about getting an ordinance in my packet that we don't have the supplement to, the attachment to, and at least the time to review this in off the table. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it. Thanks, Mayor.
I'm done.
Okay, so we had a reading of the ordinance. Is there any motions on the floor? Do you want to make a motion to revisit this, table it?
I'd like to put forth a motion to table this 2022-02 until the next meeting at the latest. I think I will need a second for that.
A second.
Roll call vote. Mrs. Dameron?
Nay.
Mr. Spence?
Nay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Nay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Nay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Can't believe these guys do this to a guy.
Mine's a procedure.
Okay, so,
Now what?
I guess at this point, we will need a motion to accept the first reading? And then we would,
So moved.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry, I didn't hear her.
it was a motion to accept the first reading of this ordinance.
I second it.
So we'll have the other two readings at the next two meetings then? Is that what we're doing?
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
I think
You got the third reading.
what he needs there. If it's going to pass 4 to 6, right? And like you said, I think we can vote on it if we want to, it's up to them. If someone makes a motion to vote. I believe.
Yeah. So him making, we can,
Here's all the
okay, so you want to make a motion, Randy, to suspend the rules for an emergency read?
For this, yeah.
Okay, and who, does somebody want to second that? No second?
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
No.
Mr. Merriman?
No.
Now we will have the second and third read of, let me get, Ordinance 2022-02, amending Ordinance 2021-28 to change the hourly rate of an employee that was erroneously increased too great of an amount to the amount agreed to by the Finance Committee effective on the next full pay of 2022 and declaring it an emergency. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Nay.
Mr. Merriman?
No.
Okay. That is the reading of the ordinances.
All right. There are no reports, announcements, or communications this week. On to the mayor's report. I spoke to BHJ. Walt and I discussed about trying to get possible, have BHJ looking to possibly getting us funding to help the project on Caddis Road within the next couple of years to get that repaved. The Finance Committee, they just had a meeting, asked me to bring forth the motion to increase the license plates to $20, which would be in by this year and by July 1st, which would take effect next year. Would take effect next year of January of 2023. So can I have a motion
I make a
to
motion
increase?
to increase the license plate fees.
Second.
Mrs.
Yay.
Cameron? Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
And Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
What else? Also in the finance meeting, we discussed the adjustment to accrued time and overtime that was proposed for the police officers. Can I get a motion to accept that adjustment?
I make a motion to make the adjustment for the police department for the overtime.
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
All right. Next announcement, Thunder in the Ville is official. It'll be July 8th and July 9th. It'll be at the Jefferson County Airport.
Wait a minute, this one.
I'm asking council, we have $5,000 in the budget for community events. I'm asking council to approve that, donate that to Thunder in the Ville for Thunder in the Ville Festival and the fireworks. So could I get a motion for the $5,000?
Make a motion for the $5,000 for Thunder in the Ville.
Second. Yep.
I'm giving that to Dr. Scarpone. She leaned in.
By the
for that
wire.
one. Mrs. Cameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Marion?
Yeah.
Next on my list is, just want to thank all the plow drivers. Hopefully that was our last snowfall that we had. Also want to thank Tom Straka, Justin Emery, and Steve from Sanitation. Those guys the other day started our flagpole project. They got the old ones taken down already, the old concrete removed, and they set the new poles, I believe, today, and hopefully by next week, depending on the weather, we'll have the new flagpoles in and then get the new electric hooked up to them. So starting to make the place look a little bit better. There is an ordinance meeting next Thursday at 6 p.m. I might have stole that from Dr. Scarpone, but just so everyone is aware, there will be an ordinance meeting next Thursday, March 24th at 6 p.m. Also, I ask all committees, council, if you guys could try to bring a report every meeting on what your committee has discussed. And if you don't meet, just say you guys didn't meet or had nothing new to report, just so we can keep the public up to date and transparent with everything. That is all I have. Next will be the administrator's report.
Did we miss one of the ordinances that we, or miss one of the motions that we were going to address? Or did I miss something?
There was two of them, the license plate tax, and then there was the shift, the accrued time.
Oh, we have to do the other through ordinance.
Ordinance.
Gotcha, okay. Sorry.
Go ahead, Walt. Yeah.
Okay. It's not even spring until Sunday, but ODOT has their winter salt bid out already. So it's in your packet. We generally order 1,500 ton. We ordered the last 200 ton this week to make our 1,500 for this year. I'll have Tammy get the ordinance resolution to Mr. Lynn, and I'd like to have it passed at the April 7th meeting. We have a deadline of April 29th to get it in, and pretty much everybody on council has to sign the ordinance resolution too that goes in, so we'll have that ready for next meeting, and who knows what the price will be. But second item on your list, we have fiscal year 23-24 capital bill request. Representative Ferguson and Senator Hoagland. Those were emailed to them, excuse me, today. Deadline is tomorrow, Friday the 18th. I put in the letter to Mr. Ferguson. Actually, Senator Hoagland received a copy of it also, but the Senate had a different application. But we did 4 phases from what we went through the Recreation Committee meeting. We have some projected costs that are rough, but for phase 2, we asked for $500,000 to install a splash pad, a shelter, and then to resurface the existing road parking area, and then construct a paved handicap parking section to allow accessibility to the shelter. So these both went in. That'll be part of the state budget. Generally should be taking effect July 1st when they get rolling on that. Also this week, we received USDA approval for our equipment loan, grant loan combination. We received a $50,000 grant and a $325,000 loan. We asked for a $100,000 grant, but they had so many applications and used a different pot of money, so we got cut down. It's the loan will be paid back over a 10-year period. It's at approximately 2 1/8% interest. Be roughly around $35,000 a year, I think. We're getting a large dump truck, a small dump truck, and 2 pickup trucks. One with a plow and one is a tool truck. Fort Steuben Burial States, next item, has an Easter egg hunt scheduled for April 10th, 2 p.m. We have $300 in the budget. They generally send us a invoice on candy that they purchased, and then we would send them a check. It is as part of a separate line item also for that. That's one of our planned expenditures. And the only other item we have is we did get the guys to clean up the north end of the parking lot, and a JB Green team brought their recycling containers in this week, and village residents have been making quite good use of them already. So that seems to be working out fine. That's all I have, Mayor.
Alrighty. Next item, any unfinished business to go over?
I got, just time clocks will begin next week for both buildings.
Okay.
That's from the Personnel Committee update.
Walt, did you say 2 pickup trucks
Yes,
with one with a plow?
correct.
Okay.
Anybody else with unfinished business? All right.
May I
Go
say
ahead.
one more
Yeah.
thing? There will be some other paperwork that we have to sign for the USDA grant. Some of it, I think, we'll have to pass something here at council. They'll be getting that to us here shortly, and then they'll want it back as soon as possible. So as soon as we get that information, we should be able to do all that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
That'll be fun. All right, on to new business. Does anybody have anything?
I'd like to give a report on the beautification committee, if I may.
Yeah.
We met this past Monday. Get the right book here. We chose, we had the catalog that Walt had provided us, so the catalog went around the table and everybody agreed to a three, what you call it?
Leg.
Post, three-leg bench, black with gray, the recycled material. Bob Coppa has volunteered to power wash the building. Is that a substation there?
It's the old water
Yeah.
pump station.
Yeah, so he's going to power wash that for us, and then we're going to be addressing painting it. He wants to kind of decorate it in a sense that where it's going to look attractive, like even if it's like a little house or something, trim the windows and everything, make it look more attractive. He's going to do the weeds in that box, and then we're talking about planting something, fun, sunflowers or something that's going to be appropriate. As you said, that we have the flagpoles. We are getting again, Bob Papa had made arrangements, talking to somebody about literally constructing a cannon that will be put in the Veterans Park, and it is going to be created and basically given to us as long as we put a plate, a dedication plate on it. We are looking into the veterans flags, as Steubenville has adopted a veterans flag program, so we're doing some research with that. We would like our banners to be consistent with theirs, just for attraction purposes and consistency flowing. So we're looking at 24 by 36 banners. We checked with a couple companies that do this, but we're also looking into local businesses that can provide us with this. They would be offered to the public at a price. We're hoping to, like I said, adopt the same program that Steubenville is using. There won't be much of a profit margin on that, but it's for the purpose of serving and honoring our veterans. So that's one of the things that is also up in the air. Another member of the committee is checking into high school students right now that need community service credits, so we can put them to work and get some of these things that we want to get done. We're waiting on a couple of bids and quotes from a couple of companies regarding a new sign there for the Memorial Park, and then refurbishing the sign out by Big Lots, and building a box of some kind to house some kind of hardy perennials. And then Joel's reaching out to the women's group, Master Gardeners. So we have a lot of wheels turning right now, a lot of wheels in motion.
That's great.
But we're working on it. The only thing I've got to find out for sure is about the sign that's there for the Memorial Park. But
Okay.
we said we were going to start there and work on the signs, and that's what we're pushing forward.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Anybody else with new business?
Just wanted to follow up. You made mention of the snow drivers, giving them a pat on the back. Absolutely, it was a rough season, and really appreciate their efforts. We do have a parking ordinance on during snow. How many? Last year we had a big issue. There was like 60 violations in January or whatever, last snow event. Okay, how many citations do we know were issued this kind of snow season? Just to wrap it up, do we have an idea on that?
I don't specifically from snow. I can find out.
That would be nice to know. We put last year there was a lot of citations and sent outs, okay, because of a parking ordinance we have during snow events. And there was a little uproar about it, but we have to have the ability to plow these roads. It's a safety concern, and we reinforce the ordinance. I'm just curious on how many, and I know people up the street actually now tore part of their yard out to park their car off to abide by the ordinance. And I just want to make sure we don't have an issue going forward. I want to actually thank the residents for putting forth an effort to consciously help us out on that. But I'm still interested in how many citations we wrote on that to see if we need to look at it further.
Yeah, and I think next year, probably in early December, the street committee should meet and have people start doing the parking passes just to be safe.
I agree.
Yeah.
Great path.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you mentioned the streets, and I just want to say that Wintersville and Steubenville city streets going through town at 3 o'clock in the morning were phenomenal. When I dropped down over the hill, 22 was horrible, all the way up and all the way back, all morning long. So kudos to both teams.
Yep. In the finance meeting, it was briefly talked about speeding. Okay, I know Carmen said something about speeding on Springdale. There was an issue on Crawford as well.
Yeah.
Well, is our sensor up and Adam? Are we going to get that speed sensor rolling?
We need to put that in the budget for next year. It takes a long time to charge and doesn't last as long as it could, but I can have them charge it and we can get it out on some of the streets. Locust is the one. A lot of times we don't have a good spot to put it.
Yeah, I get it.
So, but we've traditionally put it on Locust. Crawford would be extremely tough to find a spot there. It's narrow enough as it is. Springdale, we have the speed humps, but I'm sure we can get it, a spot there. And maybe working with the police department, we can move it around periodically.
I
we'll
guess,
get it out.
As mentioned, Carmen and both, a couple council people here have mentioned speeding as an issue, and I've gotten a few of them too. I know it's spring and it's getting out a little bit better, but I'm getting complaints about the speeding through the village on Main Street, okay? And it just seems to intensify here lately. Maybe it's because of spring. And I just want to make sure we do whatever we can with that speed sensor to make sure, we at least alert some people. Maybe we can be more effective with our efforts when it comes to speeding as well. We need to have safety as people travel in and about the village. And I just think that's an emphasis we got to get going.
We haven't done this for a while because we haven't applied for any high dollar amounts where we need traffic study, traffic data. with BHJ, we can get the counters, and the last time we did that, I think, was on Springdale. And one of the speeds on Springdale, it gives the speed and the number of vehicles 73 miles an hour on Springdale. That was prior to speed humps put in.
Yeah,
So that,
yeah.
I don't know who that would have been, but
On Springdale?
yes.
Yeah, if there is like a flow study or something available, it'd be just for the
Yeah, we
safety of the
can-
village moving forward. I would like to look into that. We had a couple requests for records regarding the landmark facility. Do we have an update on that? Did we send everything we need in on that for the request?
I can answer that.
Perfect.
Yep, we received a request from an attorney representing someone, and we did, in fact, respond to all the requests that he asked, and the ones, he did request some information the village didn't have, that we don't have records of. We don't have an obligation to create any records. So we gave him everything that he asked for and everything that the village has on landmark recovery.
So we are in full compliance with any request that's been out there? That we know.
Yes, with that request, we have complied, and we have given the attorney the information he requested.
Have there been any other requests?
There has been a second request, and we are in the process of filling it out now, of returning it now.
From the same attorney, is this a different one?
This is a different matter.
Okay. Okay, let's let that one lie. A couple weeks ago, we talked about an erroneous one, like a Wintersville webpage that isn't ours, is that right? But do we not have a Wintersville page that we control?
Not to my knowledge.
The Wintersville,
Wintersville.net. I think.
.net.
Yeah, its information is absolutely horrible on there.
Is that ours?
Yeah, where the ordinances are at and, the addresses and things that we have in the village, that's ours.
That's not Wintersville.net, is it? I thought
Keith,
Wintersville
which one is
Council.
it? Yes.
That one?
So we do have one that we control, Wintersville.net.
Do y'all know who controls it? Do we know?
Yep. Keith.
Village does?
So the village has that? Okay, all right. I just want to make sure, because I thought it was mentioned that we didn't. I thought we did.
Yeah,
We have the Facebook page, but we're talking
a web page.
like a web page of Wintersville.net or where, And then there's the Village of Wintersville page that's out there now.
Those are Facebook pages.
But those aren't ours.
No.
Those are
But
not-
no
those are not
affiliation.
ours.
But the only one that's affiliated with us that we do control is Wintersville.net. Okay. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And Bob, you brought up the SVRTA. I think Weirton has their own bus service now. I really do. I think they got it over there. So just something to look forward on that one. And just one last mention on this ordinance. I do not have an issue with the reduction of pay in this instance. I do not have an issue with that. But my issue is, I was given an ordinance in this packet that refers to another ordinance that has an attachment on it, and I don't have the attachment. So it's that I'm very disappointed in. I also, we're decreasing the pay of an employee because of the welfare for the village. Now, if I'm just throwing this scenario out there because I do not want to go down this path, but I think we're already down this path now. If our contingency of $100,000 gets below the contingency, we've now set a precedence that I don't want to go by, that we could declare an emergency ordinance to reduce wages, okay? And again, I don't have a problem in this instance with reducing this employee's wage to a degree, but it was just a process, and I don't have all the information here. It's the process. So that's it. St. Patrick's Day, please enjoy it. I have no more new business.
One, we can try to maybe get packets ready sooner for everyone. Maybe that's what we should start doing.
Listen, I still have an email too. You know, Tammy's been on the ball with sending me
minutes.
emails.
Well, I will have Tammy start to get the packets ready sooner than you guys can review sooner.
Unless you can do that, that'd be appreciated.
Nothing against that employee, but that employee did cost this village almost $5,000 in extra overtime. I ran the numbers myself. So, anybody else for new business? Denise, any transfers?
No, sir.
Motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Dameron?
Yay.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yay.
Dr. Scarpone?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yeah.
Our next regular council meeting will be April 7th, 2022 at 7 PM. This meeting is adjourned.